I've done questionable things.
Also extraordinary things. Revel in your time.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 film villains who had justifiable motives.
Mago's heart is twisted. He would make himself into what twisted him.
For this list, we'll be looking at villains who actually had some good points. We're talking official canon, so no characters with retconned prequels or lore. Sorry, Elphaba.
Who killed the Witch of the East? Was it you?
To be clear, we're not claiming that these villains' actions were justified, just that we can sympathize with the thoughts or difficulties that led to them. Did we miss your favorite sympathetic villain? Let us know in the comments. Number 20. Cypher, The Matrix. Wanting to return to blissful ignorance in the Matrix, Cypher betrays the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar.
I don't want to remember nothing. Nothing. You understand? And I want to be rich.
We're definitely not defending those actions. He turns on his friends and smiles while doing it. But we do understand where he's coming from.
That is not true, Cypher. He set us free.
Free? You call this free? All I do is what he tells me to do.
Morpheus doesn't really paint a clear picture of what you're getting into by taking the red pill. He romanticizes it, making it seem cool and badass that you're going down the rabbit hole. He doesn't mention the part where he's actually recruiting you to join a war that you otherwise could have remained blissfully unaware of. Cypher deserved a real choice in the matter.
I'm tired, Trinity. I'm tired of this war. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of this ship being cold.
Number 19. Sandman, Spider-Man 3. For all of its shortcomings, one thing that the third installment in Sam Raimi's trilogy does well is tell the heartbreaking story of Flint Marko.
You maybe even killed a man?
It wasn't like that. It wasn't.
Who could have better predicted that we would be feeling for the guy that killed Uncle Ben? But that's just what happens. Flint is more of a victim of circumstance than a straight-up villain. Yes, he is a criminal, but he turned to a life of crime to try to take care of his sick daughter.
I know all about you. Like the fact that Spider-Man won't let you help your poor daughter?
Who among us can't sympathize with that? If the story was told from his point of view, we might even regard him as a hero, fighting for his family in an unjust world.
My daughter was dying. I needed money. I was scared.
Even Peter eventually forgives him. Number 18. Zemo, Captain America Civil War. While there was already a rift forming between the Avengers over the Sokovia Accords, Zemo tore it right open by framing Bucky for murdering King T'Chaka.
I don't want to talk about it.
You feel that if you open your mouth, the horrors might never stop.
A major narrative thread throughout the MCU involves the Avengers dealing with the consequences of their actions, and Zemo plays an important role. Yes, the Avengers saved everyone they could in Sokovia when they took on Ultron, but who created Ultron in the first place? Oh yeah, Tony Stark. The battle destroyed Zemo's home and left his family dead. It's not difficult to understand why he holds a bit of a grudge.
My father lived outside the city. I thought we would be safe there. My son was excited. He could see the Iron Man from the car window.
Number 17. Pre-Crime Department, Minority Report. This may be an unpopular opinion. Obviously, the Pre-Crime Department proved to be flawed when it was revealed that the Precogs' visions aren't as authoritative as they seemed.
You think the three in the tank come out of a test tube? They are merely the ones who survived.
The inhumane way in which the Precogs were treated was also a horrible abuse of power. But there were some good intentions behind the idea. Imagine you're about to be attacked on the street, and just in the nick of time, a team of agents descends on the scene and saves your life. Ideally, such a department wouldn't just prevent crimes before they happen, but also deter crime. Who would decide to plan a murder or robbery when they could be arrested before it even happened?
Think about the lives that little girl saved. Think about all the lives she will save. That little girl could have saved Sean.
Number 16. Victor Drago, Creed 2. For fans of the original Rocky movies, this is the match of a lifetime. The son of Apollo Creed fighting the son of the man that killed his dad. But while Victor Drago's father Ivan deserves every bit of shade thrown his way, Victor deserves better.
Что мы здесь делаем? В стран будущее. Я даже не знаю эту женщину. Она нам чужая. Victor. Она бросила тебя. Они все.
When you look at things from his perspective, all the anger and darkness he has built up inside of him is understandable. His father came home, disgraced, to a country that pretty much disowned him.
Because of you, I lose everything. Country. Respect.
Victor's mother abandoned him, and his father, let's just say tough love was his preferred method of parenting. No wonder Victor was so driven not just to defeat Creed, but to destroy him. Number 15. Jobu Tupaki. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Jobu Tupaki is a terrifying figure who wants to destroy the entire multiverse.
I got bored one day, and I put everything on a bagel. Everything.
However, deep down, she's also the daughter of a woman who pushed her too hard, splintering her mind and leading to a hopeless, nihilistic worldview. After her mother Alpha Evelyn discovered verse jumping, she experimented using her own child. Jobu jumps through universes searching for meaning, but a foot in all worlds is a foot in none. She creates the black hole-like everything bagel, not with the primary aim of ending the multiverse, but of ending her own suffering.
I wanted to see if I went in, could I finally escape? Like actually die.
Knowing her story, it's easy to sympathize with her. Who doesn't want to find a place where we belong?
So let's just go our separate ways, okay? Just let me go.
Number 14. The Tethered. Us. If you were experimented on by the government, then abandoned in an underground facility, you'd probably be pretty angry too. Now, of course, we aren't condoning all the brutal killing and whatnot, but we definitely understand the Tethered's motives.
There was a girl, and the girl had a shadow.
They just want to live their own lives and enjoy the world like we do. Can you imagine spending your whole life linked to another, unable to fully control your own actions? In order to escape this fate, the Tethered revolt against their unwitting captors. It's not their fault that the only way to become untethered is to kill their counterparts.
They figured out how to make a copy of the body, but not the soul. The soul remains one, shared by two.
Number 13. Barbossa. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
We accursed men, Miss Turner. Compelled by greed we were, but now we are consumed by it.
It's not easy to sympathize with the murderous kidnapping captain of a ship that he stole from his former friend, leaving him for dead on a deserted island. But we do get Barbossa.
We took them all. We spent them and traded them, and frittered them away, drink and food and pleasurable company.
After years of never feeling anything and not being able to die, anyone would go a little bit mad. His speech to Elizabeth Swann might be terrifying, but it is also insightful. Now, of course, all of the plundering and the murdering still seems like a bit of overkill. Yet we do understand. Barbossa just wants to be a real boy again.
I feel nothing. Not the wind on my face, nor the spray of the sea, nor the warmth of a woman's flesh. You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Number 12. Khan. Star Trek Into Darkness.
We were condemned as criminals, forced into exile.
Khan is easily one of the most formidable villains the crew of the Enterprise has ever faced. He's basically superhuman, and nothing motivates someone, whether they're a villain or a hero, more than friends in peril. Kirk and Spock probably understand that better than anyone. They go to extreme lengths to save each other, as well as the rest of the crew. That's really all Khan is doing too. His people had been pretty much held captive, or more like held hostage by Starfleet. Khan's means might be brutal, but he's doing what he thinks is necessary to free his people.
Marcus took my crew from me. You are a murderer.
He used my friends to control me.
Number 11. Wilford, Snowpiercer. Okay, yes, Wilford is a tyrannical leader who keeps himself in power by controlling the population and teaching children that he's practically a god.
We need to maintain a proper balance of anxiety and fear, chaos and horror in order to keep life going.
Not good, but the dude did kind of save all of humanity, at least what was left of it. When the new Ice Age occurred, he was the only person with the means to survive. He opened up his train to other people. Granted, he segregated the haves from the have-nots and ruled with an iron fist.
Look, Curtis. Beyond the gate. Section after section, precisely where they've always been and where they'll always be.
And the way he keeps the training running is absolutely heinous. But without him, everyone would be dead. That's gotta count for something, right?
I've devoted my entire life to this. The eternal engine.
Number 10. Thanos, Avengers Infinity War. A common theme in many movies is that humans are a threat to themselves and the Earth in general.
Titan was like most planets. Too many mouths, not enough to go around.
Along comes a villain who believes that humans should be controlled or even culled. The Mad Titan operates on this premise except on a much larger scale. In Thanos' mind, he's the hero, a savior who will rescue advanced species from themselves. The snap is a quick fix.
With all 6 stones, I could simply snap my fingers. They would all cease to exist. I call that mercy.
Of course, fortunately, not all of us want to commit mass murder to resolve the issue. The end here doesn't justify the means. He did get one thing right, though. We do seem to be destroying our own environment. And something's got to give. Just not, half of all life.
And then what? I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe.
Number 9. Old Joe, Looper. So trying to slay a young person is impossible to defend. However, let's look for a moment at Old Joe's motivation.
Have you heard of the Rainmaker? Yeah, Seth said. That night, new boss in the future, he used the words holy terror.
Yeah, a reign of terror.
It harks back to that old question. If you could go back in time and kill someone responsible for countless deaths before they committed any wrongs, would you? Old Joe is trying to stop the Rainmaker, who will become a criminal boss, kill all the loopers, and murder Joe's wife. Even if you don't agree with his actions, it's easy to understand his reasons. Ending the Rainmaker's life before he becomes the Rainmaker will save a lot of lives.
He's here. He lives here, now, in this county. And I'm gonna use this to find him. And I'm gonna kill him.
Number 8. Lab Employees, The Cabin in the Woods. Though the college students are attacked by all sorts of monsters, the true villains here are the lab employees pulling all the strings from their underground facility.
Hey, you just sweat the chem, Lan. Well, these morons are singing What a Friend We Have in Shinto. We are bringing the pain.
And it certainly seems cruel to lure people into their sacrificial ritual, especially given their callous attitude towards it all.
Congratulations go to maintenance, who share the pot with Ronald the intern.
That's not fair. I had zombies too.
However, when you think about what's at stake, you can kind of understand where they're coming from. Without the ritual, the world will literally end.
You can die with them, or you can die for them.
The lab employees, along with other organizations around the world, are tasked with keeping ancient gods at bay. In fact, it could be argued that these gods are actually the true villains, more than the lab employees. Number 7. Magua, The Last of the Mohicans. Sometimes things are all about perspective.
L'homme blanc vient comme l'aube de jour. Et la nuit, tu amènes ta femme pour le futur.
From Magua's perspective, he is at war with the British and Colonel Monroe specifically. And when you think about how Magua was kidnapped by the Mohawks, tortured by Monroe, and basically had his life ruined, it's no surprise why the guy is so upset. It's not great that he pretends to be friends with our main characters only to ultimately betray them. And that part about him making one of Monroe's daughters his wife is also pretty grim. But there are causes for all that hate inside.
Notre conseil se pose la question.
Our council has asked the question.
Je suis enfant. Kurtov le hero.
Number 6. Ozymandias, Watchmen. Nothing brings people together like a common enemy.
Humanity's savage nature will inevitably lead to global annihilation.
And nobody knows that better than Ozymandias. That's his whole plan. In the Watchmen universe, the Cold War has reached the point where nuclear war is imminent and mutually assured destruction is just around the corner. Ozymandias believes that the only way to stop us from fighting each other is by giving us someone else to fight together. He puts in motion a devastating attack on several cities, blaming it on Dr. Manhattan. And it actually works. The US and USSR do forge an alliance. It's another messed up case where the end clearly doesn't justify the means, but we do understand Ozymandias' motives.
Killing millions to save billions. A necessary crime.
Number 5. General Francis Hummel, The Rock. It's hard to believe that Hummel is considered the villain of this story at all.
You will transfer $100 million from the Grand Cayman Red Sea Trading Company account to an account I designate. From these funds, reparations of $1 million will be paid to each of the 83 Marines' families.
All he wants is for the families of his fallen comrades to be fairly compensated for their deaths. The US government sent them to war with the promise that their families would be taken care of, and then broke that promise.
It was my men on the ground that made those hits possible by lasing the targets. 20 of them were left to rot outside Baghdad after the conflict ended. No benefits were paid to their families.
Hummel tries to do things the right way again and again, but eventually takes things into his own hands. Yes, he holds many innocent people hostage and threatens worse, but he doesn't actually intend on following through. He just wants the government to make good on its promises.
Well, I have choked on these lies my entire career. Well, here and now, the lies stop!
Number 4. Roy Batty, Blade Runner. Similar to Khan, this is another villain that is really just trying to fight for his people.
Well, I'm afraid that's a little out of my jurisdiction. I want more life, Father.
Replicants are created to be worked as slaves and programmed with a built-in 4-year lifespan. Batty's main goal isn't to hurt anyone, although he's willing to. It's to prolong his life and fight for replicant rights. Imagine being used up for 4 years only to be discarded like trash.
You were made as well as we could make you, but not to last.
The Tyrell Company designed them to be as human as possible. Why are they surprised when they suddenly want to fight for their fundamental rights?
All those moments will be lost in time.
Number 3. Killmonger, Black Panther. While Killmonger might seem power-hungry at first glance, his motivations are truly honorable. He is of Wakandan descent, but abandoned by his own people. And then he grew up in a world that viewed him as a second-class citizen. We understand why Wakanda wants to keep their technology secret. Historically, humans abuse power.
These items aren't for sale.
How do you think your ancestors got these? You think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it like they took everything else?
But sitting back and watching people hurt when you have the power to help, well, that doesn't really fly either.
Y'all sitting up here comfortable. Must feel good. It's about 2 billion people all over the world that looks like us, but their lives are a lot harder.
Yes, Killmonger does horrible things to get what he wants, but it's easy to see where he's coming from.
When black folks started revolutions, they never had the firepower or the resources to fight their oppressors. Where was Wakanda?
Number 2. Koba, the Planet of the Apes franchise. This is another villain who goes to extreme lengths to achieve his goal. But you can see why. Caesar's goal of peace between apes and humans is admirable, but Koba hasn't had the same experiences. Whereas Caesar became the adoptive son of a sympathetic human, Will Rodman, Koba was abused, tormented, and experimented on. Once Koba was given the intelligence to understand what had happened to him and to escape, his response was to fight back in self-defense and in defense of all apes. Why would he trust humans after all that?
Caesar has
No. Place. Here.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Magneto, the X-Men franchise.
There are thousands of men on those ships, good, honest, innocent men. They're just following orders.
Given his past and internment during World War II, Eric Lehnsherr doesn't exactly have fond memories of being put on lists or seen as dangerous. Magneto wants mutants to fight back against oppression and to have the same basic rights and freedoms.
Make no mistake, my brothers. They will draw first blood. They will force their cure upon us.
Granted, his methods cross a line. Using your powers to control and hurt people isn't a great way to prove that you're not scary. But why should he have to diminish himself to make others more comfortable? If you watch the movies in chronological order, you can see how his motives change over the years into a kind of mutant elitism. But at his core, he is just a guy fighting for his people.
I will bring you hope, old friend. And I ask only one thing in return. Don't get in my way.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.